Communication Air.
Welcome to episode 67. I'm off track of the Communication Air podcast. This would normally be the community patch notes episode of a topic, but we took last week off because I had some personal things that came up. But it was all part of the master plan, and you'll find out that master plan in 2 weeks. If you could do math, you might figure it out now. But today we're talking about will AI change gaming for the good, or I don't even know.
You're doing great, man. Welcome back to Communication Air.
This is bad. But to help us on this episode, we have a very special guest. You may have heard him on Game Explain as Joey FerrisWheelPro. Did I say that right?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, for the most part, right. Joey Ferris, but I go by FerrisWheelPro on the YouTubes now. Long story there, but thank you both for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I got plenty of time now. So
yeah, so you were at Game Explain. Do you mind just like talking about like how you got into the industry and like what you enjoyed about it?
All right, so I got into this industry at first because my buddy, I got to give him a shout out, Sen Chow. He works for a website called Nerd Reactor. I say work for, it was a volunteer site mostly, but it's a website that covers like not just games, but all things media. And he said, you should join. It's going to be awesome. And so I submitted my application. I got sample articles written, and then I was a part of the team. That's pretty much how I really got into the industry part of things. And then ever since then, I've gotten opportunities with my buddy Conrad at the Commonwealth Realm, that YouTube channel, which then I moved on to another website, Nuke the Fridge. And just to put things like shortly during COVID, Game Explain put out a job application for a full-time news and features editor. And so I applied for it, and then I got the job. It was just fantastic. Just like the dream was alive, full-time content creator talking about video games. It was excellent. So that's pretty much how I got into this industry. That's how I am. I would say I'm still in this industry because once you're in it, you're never truly out of it. I feel like, unless you, I don't know, become an alt-right grifter, then it's just like, get out of here. But still, it's
Star Wars.
Yeah, it's funny because you invited me like a week before I think my layoff happened, which was both a surprise and not a surprise to me.
Okay.
Andre, the owner of Game Explain, was very transparent with me and Tris, the only two other full-time employees there at the time, and just saying like, things aren't looking that great. We didn't know we were going to lose our job that day, but it wasn't just like it wasn't like what happened with Game Informer, where Game Informer just like didn't even tell the employees that they were about to lose their jobs. No, we got a bit of a heads up before then. So we left on good terms. I'm not going to give too many details. We left on good terms. If you're looking for more GX drama or whatever, this is not the place you're going to find it. So like, I don't know, go on message boards or something if you want that.
No, and we don't want to talk drama. I think it kind of does.
The only drama we have is between me and Cheesy. All right, we're breaking up. This is the last time we're doing this.
No, wait 2 more episodes.
But I mean, it kind of does lead into what we are going to be talking about. But I guess since you are here, I mean, like, is there a problem across the board when it comes to just gaming content and journalism, and like, is there?
There's something definitely. I don't think the problem that Game Explain had, I don't think the problems that we had at that channel were necessarily related to what's going on with like Game Informer and all the other big outlets that like Kotaku and such. I know there's been layoffs across like all those websites, right? The simple thing about Game Explain was, I think Andre put this in his statement too, just he couldn't afford us anymore. So it's just like, why even have us if you can't afford to pay us? So I'm just like, that's okay, that's fine by me. But in the case of like, Game Informer, it just sounds like corporate greed. Like, I know there's probably a more nuanced issue back there, but also just like corporate greed. That's all I can really say on that matter. Like, I guess they just thought like Game Informer wasn't worth having around, and they just scrapped it before even finishing the next issue. Um, and I know Ziff Davis and IGN, there's stuff going on there too. It's not something I know so much about, so I'm not going to speak on it too much. All I
Sure.
know is just like after Game Informer shut down, I have many friends who work there. Like we're all wishing each other the best here in these times. But yeah, GameStop as a company, I've just only heard bad things about. So
Well, I guess, since you are on your own now, why don't you tell the internet what it is that you do, where people can find you?
yes. So currently, right now, before like as I'm in the middle of like my new job search, I've rebooted my old channel, Ferris Wheel Pro. It used to be Ferris Wheel Productions, but I'm just like Productions. That's not a sexy gamer YouTube name. I need to just go back. I need to just go back to just call it my Twitter handle, which was Ferris Wheel Pro, because I couldn't fit Productions in there. So that's kind of what I became to be, because after all, my last name is Ferris, Ferris Wheel. Haha, I have no relation to George Washington Ferris, the creator of the Ferris wheel. So everybody stop asking me. I'm putting that rumor to bed. And so right now I'm doing on my channel, I just did as of recording this, I only posted an update video and I had one Metroid Dread live stream. But right now I'm working on like an actual episode for my channel. I'm going to be reviewing a game that I don't want to like reveal what it is yet. It's not going to be like a mega uber surprise or anything, but I just like to, I don't know, surprise people with what I may be doing
Metroid Prime
next.
4 early. Let's go.
Oh, yes. Definitely. Big time. You know it, I wish. But yeah, the types of videos I do on my channel, I like to do game reviews, but I say reviews with an asterisk, because sometimes I don't even necessarily finish the games I'm reviewing, especially if it's like a new release. But I like to make the videos about like how I feel about these games so far. But I want to incorporate like scripted humor in there. Like if you're a fan of like Angry Video Game Nerd or those types of creators, they're kind of like the that's kind of what, I don't want to say that's the style I'm going for, because I'm ultimately trying to go for my own style, but they incorporate live action sketches in there. So I get my buddy Alan and my other friends to like make sketches with me as well. So I just like to make entertaining videos. I enjoy the process of like creating like engaging and fun content about these games. So that's what I'm working on, and I'm sure I'll have this video done by this week. I'm actually probably going to finish writing the script for it tonight. So we'll see.
Awesome. Well, yeah, please go check out Joey everywhere. You have like over 5,000 subscribers now on your YouTube channel.
It's crazy.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Granted, I already had like 3,400 subscribers. Like I couldn't upload to my own YouTube channel while I was working at Game Explain. There was one exception made. I uploaded my Alan Wake 2 reaction there. But I've only had 3,400 subscribers for like 4 years. It's probably gone up steadily since, I'm not sure. But ever since I left Game Explain, made that update video, and Andre's been promoting Tris and our channels. Like, just thank you for that, Andre. I gained I'm at like over 5,000 subscribers now, which is insane. I did not think it was going to get that high, like that quickly.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Well, Johnny, you want to do some
server maintenance.
Server maintenance.
Let's go. We did get a new review, so make sure you leave 5-star reviews on Apple or Spotify. I think Google Podcast is finally gone. I keep getting emails about how it's gone. So
yeah, they're like, hey, just a reminder.
If you can do anything on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow on Spotify. Do all that stuff. But we did get a 5-star review. It says, "Love the podcast" from Henwy. It's HENWY. Henwy23. "I love this show. It's generally my favorite podcast next to the Nintendo Powercast. Shout out. We're also on those. Man, we're killing it with this guy. I don't know if y'all will read this on the show or not, but if you do, what would be your definition of a perfect game?" In Breath of the Wild.
Oh, my definition of a game? Metroid Prime Remastered.
Agree. Hard agree.
That one's really good.
It could go either way. It could go Metroid Prime the original or Metroid Prime Remastered, because Metroid Prime Remastered unfortunately got rid of the reflection of Samus's face in that one mirror, which bums me out. But other than that, it's just like a perfect game. It's just like you can't go wrong with Metroid Prime. People always fight me. Is it Dread or Metroid Prime that's the best? And I'm just like, I'm a Metroid Prime loyalist. You can't ask me to. Dread is great, but you can't ask me to go back on Prime.
I went back to Prime Remastered a little bit ago, and like the pacing, the atmosphere, like everything's just spot on. Like it's so
The music.
good. The music,
Yeah.
it's just it's phenomenal, and it makes me sad that more people haven't played Metroid games. It makes me sad.
We're in a good spot though with that. You know, Dread has become the best-selling Metroid game of all time. Metroid Prime Remastered. What pisses me off is Nintendo only posted like the first month of that game's sales, which was 1.1 million, and they never gave us updated sales figures for that, which pisses me off. But that's neither here nor there. It's still like the Metroid brand is probably strongest that it's ever been since at least the 2000s. I was looking back, we got Metroid like every year, almost every other year in the 2000s. It felt like it was crazy.
And then they kind of stopped after Fusion, right?
Other M.
Oh yeah,
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Which,
Yeah.
That's one I haven't played. You're a defender of that game, or you're not a defender?
Oh, I am not a defender of that game in the
Okay.
least.
I know Rob
Yeah,
is.
Rob is a huge defender. We have like arguments, quote unquote, about it. And ultimately, there's no changing either of our minds. But if anyone tries to come to me and tell me Other M is good, actually, Joey, because XYZ, I'm just like, look, you can have your opinion, but like, don't try and convince me this game is not a heaping pile.
Cheesy,
Yeah.
what about you? I mean, you're gonna be wrong, so
Dang.
I am gonna be wrong because the first thing that came to mind, and I'm sure it's just based off of nostalgia, is Banjo-Kazooie. Like, I just feel like that game deserves so much love. The collectathon of it, the 3D adventure, the platforming, the music, Grant Kirkhope. I would love to get on this show one day. Yeah, I mean, it's a fantastic game.
I need to beat that game still. I've never beaten it, but I love it. It's one of those weird things where it's just like, I love this franchise, but I can't call myself a fan because I've never beaten any of them. So maybe I'll need to have like some kind of like stream or something to finally beat this game.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the controls probably haven't aged that great because it was the N64, so you have the camera with the C buttons, and so you know, you just kind of have to deal with that. But
I would just play the rare replay version anyway. That's my go-to version of Banjo-Kazooie. I tried it on Switch with the Nintendo 64 controller. I think I actually played it natively on a Nintendo 64 controller at my buddy's house once. But yeah, I'm just like Xbox controller all the way for that.
yeah, I mean, all right. So we need to get into the topic. Please go follow us everywhere or support us. Give us 5-star reviews. Thank you for that 5-star review. Johnny, let's ask the question and then get into our topic. We ask our guests a question every time they come onto the show.
Single guest, and it makes me. It sets the tone for the whole episode. So, do you like Super Mario World or Super Mario Bros. 3 more?
God dang it. That's another case of like I've never beaten either game, but I feel like I've played enough of them to know which one I like better. Oh my goodness, it's so tough. It's really tough because I like both games for different reasons. I feel like my heart is leaning, even though I have more nostalgia for Mario World, I feel like my heart leans more towards Super Mario Bros. 3.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear.
What is it at now, Johnny?
It's 12-8 Super Mario World.
Okay.
But this year, we really caught back up with Super Mario Bros. 3 this year. So I'm feeling pretty good to close out the year.
Dude, Super Mario Bros. 3 is like the most polished and like best looking NES game I've ever seen.
Have you played
Like,
NES
seriously.
World Championships?
No, I've like no interest in that game.
Okay. Well, I was just gonna say, like, I love Super Mario Bros. 3 so much that I like the only games that I actually completed all the challenges is Super Mario Bros. 3 and Super Mario Bros. 1. And Super Mario Bros. 3 just holds up. It's just so good. It makes me happy every time. I mean, Super Mario World's fantastic too, but I don't know. 3 has a chokehold on me for some reason.
It really does. I don't know what it is either exactly. Like Mario World might be like I don't know, it might be like technically better, like sure, because better hardware and stuff. But just there's something about Mario Bros. 3. It must be the style of it. I feel like that's exactly what it is. It's just like the environments in there and the music. I just prefer to Mario World, like over Mario World. It's just so much better in that regard.
Was that the first game that you played over World?
No, I actually played World first.
Oh, okay. Because
I played
normally
a
what we
lot of
have.
World. I played a lot of World, but like
Okay.
3, I played relatively. I don't think I played Mario World. I mean Mario Bros. 3 until the Wii Virtual Console, and I said I
Okay.
like was like this game freaking rocks. Like it's so good.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I played World a lot because I had a SNES growing up. I never had an NES growing up. And my first experience with Super Mario Bros. 3 was the All Stars version. So I thought that
Mm.
that's just how that game looked. And then I played it on the Wii Virtual Console. I'm like, why does it look so weird?
Oh my god.
It's still fantastic.
So, all right. So we're gonna be talking about will AI make gaming better? And Joey, I thought that you would be the perfect person to bring onto this show because I know as a creative, you are very vocal about this topic in general when it comes to games, when it comes to shows and movies. And I mean, I don't think that you are in the minority in this
Mhm.
conversation. I think there are a lot of people that are scared about AI. So, in general, will AI make gaming better?
No, it will not. Here's the thing. We're talking. I assume we're talking specifically about generative AI.
Yes. And so
Of
we
course.
did have someone on Twitter who wanted to make sure that, we were talking about that specifically. Uh, AJ from Watch Redirect said it's too broad of a term because AI has been in games for most of their existence, and there are entire genres that couldn't exist without it. It's a buzzword to hate right now, but AI as a whole isn't, nor could it actually be universally bad? Companies are just specifically abusing generative AI.
Right. And I think if you're referring to like enemy AI or something, I'm just like, we're not talking about that, y'all. This is
Yeah.
completely different. Like, nobody's arguing that just like general NPC AI is bad. That's not the issue. It's not even part of the conversation. We're talking about like, hey, I can get AI to make me a 3D model of a human being, which means I don't have to hire any artists or 3D modelers, and like there you go. That is disastrous. That is just like the implications of what that would do to like not only the game itself but just like the game development like industry, just the overall economy of it all, especially if like this gets brought into like filmmaking, which it's already beginning to. I still
Mhm.
have not seen the movie Late Night with the Devil because it just used two AI generative like slides in it, and I'm just like I'm at a zero tolerance policy with generative AI. But here's where the line is drawn. AI, I don't know if like correct me if I'm wrong, anybody here in this panel or here in the comments. I would love to hear stories about how AI has been used positively in video games because I already know of examples of it being used positively in film. In Across the Spider-Verse, the Spider-Man animated film, they managed to use AI to cut a lot of corners with like I believe like one of the things is like the AI will track like where somebody's jawline is supposed to be. Like that's just one of the few examples, and that's perfect because it's just like an artist doesn't have to like painstakingly remember for every frame. It makes their job easier.
Mhm.
Dune Part 2 as well. Like in the first Dune movie, the blue eyes were all added in post, but like frame by frame with an artist, and that sounds like just a thankless, stressful, just not even stressful, but like boring ass
Yeah,
job. Let's be
tedious.
real, very tedious. But they used an AI in the second movie to like track like where those blue eyes was supposed to be, especially because there's a lot more blue eyes in Dune Part 2. That's the example of like AI being used in a helpful way. A Kingdom of Planet of the Apes used AI too. I forget exactly how, but that's good application of AI. But if you're using generative AI to like, I don't know, animate a monster in like a horror film or something, that's bad. How they used it in Late Night with the Devil, they could have just hired like an artist for not even that much money, but they just used AI for it. And I still have not seen that movie
All I
again.
could think of is Secret Invasion, and
Oh
that
yes,
that intro is AI generated, I think.
Yeah,
it
it
is.
is.
And it's awful, and it's also like you're Disney, you have Marvel money, of Disney money, pay artists. It's not.
Mhm.
And now there's actually there's a strike going on. There's the
Yes.
voice actor strike going on, and their main sticking point is the AI protections, and
Mhm.
they can't. That's where they're butting heads a lot right now. I honestly, like generative AI, I don't support it. I think it's terrible, but I do think it is inevitable. Like there's
Yeah.
no, I don't think we're going to be able to stop it completely.
As long as we
Unfortunately,
stop it a little bit here and there, like for example, like don't see movies with generative AI. And I know that's like everyone has to do that, but it's a small step. I know Tyler Perry, he was going to expand his. I know we're talking a lot about games, but right now it seems like AI is just being trying to be used a lot more in filmmaking right now as well. Um,
Hmm.
Tyler Perry shut down like the expansion of his studio or canceled that because just like, oh, generative AI. And I'm just like, well, I'm going to continue doing what I've been doing and not watch Tyler Perry movies. But that's neither here nor there. But still, like, I know if we're thinking of games for an example, there's of course the issue with voice actors as well because just the problems with AI voiceovers. Um, there was a game I played where during the review period there was an AI voice being used in it, which they've assured me was temporary. I don't know if that was true. I haven't checked the game since then. It's been quite a few months. But that's just an AI is like voices are one of the easiest things, or like the most convincing things I would say. An AI can really like regenerate, which is scary for multiple reasons, not just for games and like movies, but also just the age of misinformation. Like
Hmm.
seriously, that's scary. And yeah, it's just I have, as you could tell, I have many thoughts and feelings about generative AI. And if we're talking about games, also I believe Activision Blizzard, they put out
Yep.
some generative AI like weapon tech like skins or like character skins as well, which I'm just like, oh well, that's also really crappy, but it's from Activision Blizzard. Who'd have thought, right?
Hmm.
yeah. And I think it came out after the fact. Like people didn't know that they were AI generated, and then it came out that the ones that they were selling in the whatever item shop were AI generated.
Well, is that
This.
AI going to get a cut of the money then?
Oh man. So I mean, like, this is kind of where I, I struggle with it because I also feel like artists deserve to get paid and do their jobs that they were hired to do, or use their talents instead of just letting a computer do it. But I also can't say that I'm fully against AI. Like, I know it's different, but like, we have a woman in our phone. I'm not going to say her name because then she activates, but like, who does help. And kind of like what you were saying, like, it can be helpful, like on the set of Dune 2, like it was used as a tool. So I would like to think that some of these things are being used as a tool instead of just cutting costs. But then, like, if you support one small thing of AI, then you're probably going to support other smaller increments that become bigger. And so I don't really know like where the line crosses, or
I mean,
how far back do you go?
the big problem with generative AI is it steals from existing art. right? Because
Yeah.
it needs
Yeah.
to learn from something. So it steals from art, it steals from people's likenesses. So that's the big issue. And with using AI as a tool, like, the apps on our phone, I don't think they pull from
Like they'll compile from like search engines and articles, but it's nothing that's really like as like offensive, I think, as like
But I mean, then
straight
you're
up steal.
pulling like articles from a writer. Like, isn't that
yeah, but
almost kind of the
doesn't
same thing as that you're
for
taking their work?
for this woman that is British on my phone, doesn't it gives you the article, so you can still click on the article, and then
Yeah.
that wherever that original source is still getting your click, it's still getting your traffic, which will earn
Okay.
them money.
Yeah.
But like the generative artwork, it's not sourced to the art that it is pulling from, so that artist is not getting anything, and they're just stealing the art.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what Nintendo said in an investor Q&A. I think a few months ago, they were just like, we acknowledge that AI is a thing that's like inevitable. I guess they said something like that, and they're always looking into new technologies. But right now, there's a lot of like legal issues with AI, which is why they're not outright supporting it or like not supporting it. They're just like, yeah, there's some legal conundrums there that we don't want to be a part of.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you mentioned Activision. We live in a capitalistic hellscape, so like they're gonna cut costs as much as they can. So we're gonna get AI generated things that we won't even know. We won't know that they're AI generated.
Mm-hmm. That's
And
for sure.
and you brought up like NPC behavior, which is one of the big things that companies like Ubisoft is trying to do right now, is let you have more creative choices when talking to an NPC. And so to me, it sounds like they just are wanting games to sound more like a D&D game where you have just more options. But then if every game kind of becomes that, then is it anything special? And in a weird way, like given NPCs more like behaviors is kind of dystopian when you think about it, because the NPCs are the computer players and they're like, well, wait a minute, we want to be more involved in this game. And because what I read is that there's companies that notice that a lot of games have kind of a combat mechanic. You either live or you die, and there's no like bartering. There's no like, hey, why don't you come join my team? And just having gamers feel like they can do more within that world, I guess. But then that's the part that's scary to me, is how far can you go? Because we all know the internet is pretty scary and freaky place. So what are you going to be asking these NPCs to do for you?
Oh no. Don't
What
give me ideas.
have you ever seen Mythic Quest? I don't know if you ever
No,
seen
I
Mythic
have
Quest.
not, but I know
No.
about it.
Yeah.
There's a rule. It's like, I forget what it's called. I don't know if I should say it, keeping it like a
TTP?
TTP, yeah. TTP. Time to
Dong.
dong, yeah, pretty much. So how fast a person will create a dong.
Wow.
And
Okay.
that's the number one thing that people are going to use AI for. There's no doubt in my mind
Yeah.
that's
Not at
what
all.
it's already happening.
It is. I haven't seen it, but it is.
Like, you think, if you look at the eShop, say you look at the eShop, there are AI generated games on the eShop right now. They're like,
Yeah, there was a horror game that I forgot the name of, but that was a game like IGN kept promoting and stuff like that. But it was, I really wish I could remember it so I could tell y'all don't buy this piece of crap. But it was like a horror game set in like a house where you fight ghosts and stuff. But a lot of the game is AI generated. Oh, and the person who made the game is like a known like alt-right individual or something who actually used a real 911 SA call in like his first game. So
Huh.
it's just like, yeah, the slop is already here. That's for sure. Like when it starts getting really into like the big companies, which are starting to like creep their way in, as we see with the AI generated skins in Call of Duty. That's when the panic must ensue.
I mean, it's already started, right? Like
The panic has
it,
ensued. Yes.
yeah. So with and I support, like not purchasing that game or not watching that movie or whatever. Like if that's your stance, that's great. How how long do you keep that up? Like, do you see yourself like giving up video games if it does go in that direction?
I got a huge backlog. Don't tempt me
Yeah,
because I
It's
yeah,
a
could.
collection of games that you always have access to, not a
Yeah.
backlog.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, but at least we know Nintendo's not gonna. It doesn't sound like Nintendo wants to hop on that train for a long time. So at least I'll keep playing Nintendo games at that point. But yeah, we'll see. I just want to know, like, how is this going to impact the economy if jobs are being replaced by AI? It's just
hmm
like I can't imagine like that having good like it's just like, oh, we're gonna put out these games that have been made like mostly with AI, but now it's just like how are we gonna afford those games? The AIs took our jobs. That's just like the broad way I'm thinking about it. Like obviously not every person is a game developer, obviously, but like if say this carries over to other platforms like I don't know, AI video editing,
hmm
AI like I don't know, robot waiters, which are kind of a thing,
yeah,
kind of not. Like I see Denny's use them, but they're really just glorified like platters that the
yeah,
waiters just use to help out. But yeah, I wouldn't say I'm like terrified of the future in general when it comes to AI, not just in games, but in like everything else. But I'm curious. I'm curious right now because I gotta think like there's I gotta have hope for like the human race in
hmm
that they can be smart about the products they consume and know it's just like AI. If there's like generative AI schlop in this mess of a movie, game, or what have you, then like you probably shouldn't buy it because that'll just send a message to the company like, hey, we can't you can't keep doing this. Like if you want to have our goodwill, you want to have our dollar bills, you got to do this. But again, the it's going to be a lot more complicated than just voting with your wallet, I think. And
yeah.
that's where we're going to see probably more strikes like these, not just in voice acting or just acting in general, but also like in every industry. We're going to see game developers like unionize big time or strike in general. I don't know the huge differences between all those two, but I'm curious. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I was talking to my wife about this topic, and she plays games here and there. So I was like, "Well, what do you think of like games using AI?" And she's like, "Well, I don't know if I've ever played a game that uses AI." And obviously she has, but like I'm thinking, okay, well, no,
Yeah.
like in the future, like now going forward and what AI is today, what do you think? And the first thing that she said was like, "Well, I guess when it comes to AI, I think about like those images that look completely off, and
Yeah.
there's just like a lot of things wrong with them." And she's not wrong, and that's kind of the scary thing too, is like how bad could this industry get because we're cutting corners and trying to make something work, or like it's just not going to be the same quality as what you would get with a human developer.
Yeah, that really is the question. I want to see AI used in games in like smart ways. Like because video games right now, they just take way most of them take way too long. Like 4 years minimum of to spend on one project is just way too long. We used to get
hmm
games like 2 to 3 every like 2 to 3 years, like in the
How's
same
Metroid
range.
Prime 4 doing, huh?
Oh man, that's a whole other mess too. Like just like just I can get into that. Like you announced it in 2017, but you restarted it. Thank you so much. And I'm sure they also had
No.
it's beautiful running on Switch. But yeah, um, but like, but there's got to be more clever and like not job stealing ways to like implement AI into game development without. I will say, like, we talk about where do we draw the line in the sand, and the line is drawn when people start losing their jobs over it. That's what I think.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
the way these movies have been able to use AI effectively and smartly and safely, I just got to feel like there's got to be some kind of solution for video games. I remember when Unreal Engine 5 was being promoted, and it sounded like they had programs in there. I don't know if it's AI related or not, but like you could easily just import a model into a game, and it would just be as easy as that. It wouldn't be like you'd have to like take account for how many polygons the model has in it. It would just safely like make the appropriate amount of polygons. Keep in mind, I'm not a developer. I probably don't know what I'm talking about at all. But I gotta feel like there's something that these game engines can incorporate that make game development like easier or like less time consuming, less tedious. So like games aren't like $1 billion and like 10-year long development cycles.
It's tough because I don't want to be the type of person that is like, oh, this new technology that's come out, like, oh, I wish things were like the old days. But like when we have had tech, it has been an adjustment to our regular lifestyle that have made things easier. So kind of what you're saying, like, let's use it in the smartest way and use it as a tool versus just eliminating jobs. And if it creates other jobs, then that's great. But if you're just taking away those jobs and not making new ones, then that's a huge problem.
I totally agree, and I don't want my games looking like that AI schlop.
Yeah.
How would you describe like what an AI image looks like? Because more often than not,
Uncanny. I think uncanny is the word.
yeah, and it's just like what is it about it? It's just like the lightings, the color. It's I don't know I don't know how to put into words what that kind of image looks like other than uncanny, which is still pretty vague, but it just goes to show it's weird, it's bizarre.
Yeah. So there's a great video by Drew Gooden. I don't know if you guys know who Drew Gooden is. He's a YouTube commentator. But he was talking about AI, and he said that AI is always learning. But if it's learning what AI is putting out or other AIs are putting out, then it's going to be trying to do that thing. So if you say, like, this is a picture of a hand, and the AI goes, oh, okay. So it tries to draw a picture of a hand, but then it has like 6 fingers or 7 fingers. And then you show that image, then the AI thinks, oh, okay, that's what a hand looks like. And then it gets worse. And then it's just keeps going down the rabbit hole of like what it thinks the thing is that it's supposed to be creating is actually just wrong. I saw a thing on Twitter where it was like people who were saying like, oh man, AI has really changed the game. These commentators aren't real. And they're like celebrating it. And I just like, I can't think, how is this a good thing? Like, I really want to know from like the perspective of those people how this is something that can be celebrated. And we have somebody from Twitter, Susie G, who was, I think, pro AI, said, I mean, technically, AI has made gaming better with NPC behavior and giving you an extra player to fight / co-op within lieu of another person. But if you're talking Gen AI to create visual and audio assets, then that's a different story. I think corporations will abuse it to cut costs, which not only hurts employers, but makes art a lot more uniform in style. In my opinion, I think all of the negative stereotypes of art has come back to bite us when it comes to AI. And they say they'll elaborate with one, that artists are chosen, not made, saying that it's an innate talent would make people use AI if they feel uncomfortable with creativity because they didn't feel encouraged because of this. Two, romanticism of the starving artist, that best art is made under stress, low or no pay. Three, the commodification of art. If art is a product, then art can be automated. I feel like this has all come to a head when it comes to creativity, and discussions are definitely needed. Systems wise, AI has been only getting better when it comes to character behavior, from the old fashioned pathfinders to behavior trees and NLP. And then they wrote an article about it. So like it's what's nice about this show is we try to like hear from all points of different views to see if like maybe there is a communication error and we need to like sit down and figure this out. Does any of that sound like you can understand where someone who is pro AI is coming from?
I know we try to be like open to both sides of arguments, but I feel there's just no nuance to this topic whatsoever. It should just be clear as day. It's just like generative AI that steals people's jobs is bad. It's bad. And I always hear from pro AI people, it's always something like oh, you filmmakers better start finding a new career because this AI schlop made this like really convincing trailer and it looks like the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. And that being like the general like consensus of how these pro AI people like sound. It's just like, are you supporting this because you've never made something unique or special in your life and you don't know how to? Or like, do you genuinely think like this is the future? And I'm convinced it's just like, no, these people don't know how to be creative to save their lives. So they're just like,
yeah, that's interesting that you bring that up, because most of the time when people are talking about AI, they're like, look at this thing I created with AI. And it's like, well, but the AI created it, like, I don't know how you can claim that you made that.
And these people sound like the NFT bros. Like they just sound so insufferable, and it's just like, my God, like just please go learn this, get a Skillshare account, learn something. Like, God,
Also,
if you want to be an artist, just be an artist.
Yeah, this episode is brought to you by Skillshare.
Nice.
You can use the code. No, Johnny,
I will say, I'm not pro AI. I am fascinated by the tech. Just what AI technology can do now. Like, I don't know, there's that video of Will Smith eating spaghetti, right?
Yeah.
And like, I don't know how many years ago the initial video was.
It was only like 2 years ago.
Was it 2 years ago? But now they have the updated version, and it looks completely different and better than that initial version. So the way AI learns and like the tech behind it is very fascinating. The morals behind it is a whole different story. Like, yeah, I don't want people to lose their jobs because a corporation doesn't want to pay artists to do the art for a game. Like, yeah, of course that I don't want that. But the improvement of technology is just fascinating. And I think AI could be a useful tool in all aspects. I mean, there's a bunch of these AI tools out there that just like take a podcast like this, they plop it in, and then it pulls out the viral moments of the podcast and kind of chops it up and edits it. And I think that is a useful tool. It's not making art out of it. It's not creating anything new out of it. It's just taking what already exists and putting it into a different package.
But to counter that, we should just hire an editor then. We don't use an AI like editing software for our show, but like that's just taking another job away. And I don't know, it's hard because like I know for previous videos I would use like auto captions and just like whatever I'm saying in the video, just to have the tech or the app just create the captions for me. But it's like, oh, that used to be someone's job.
All right, hold on. Okay. We don't make money off of this, all right? We are not a mega corporation. I think it's okay to use like an editing software to help us out a little bit.
I will tell you the subtitles thing's a little different as an editor, because like that's extremely helpful. The subtitle tool you're talking about. And I guarantee if you hired an editor to do that today, to just give your video subtitles, they would do the exact same thing. That's that. I feel like that is more of a tool that makes someone's job easier. Unless there were people who literally their job were to just make captions and only captions, but generally those people are already film editors to begin with, so it's not that. I don't think it's that part is specifically a problem. But if anyone in the comments wants to just prove me wrong on that, please do. I'd love to be more informed about it. But yeah, I get what you're saying, though. It's the technology is impressive. I love how Will Smith actually made a video himself of him like eating spaghetti, pretending it was AI, but it wasn't.
I haven't seen that. That's funny.
Oh, it is so funny. Yeah, but again, like the technology itself, while impressive, it's problematic for the reasons that we've already just gone into extensively on this podcast already.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like what you said. I don't know how much we can talk about it because it just is not. It's not okay. I mean, like there's no good to it unless it is being used as a tool. And I don't want to like go in circles, but like that's really the answer unless there's people in the comments that are like, no, AI is good for blah blah blah. And it would be cool to learn something new, but I just don't understand what people are seeing when AI is being used. Like I know you and I, Joey, we really like bonded over the show The Bear.
Yeah.
And because you were watching The Bear, I had watched it before, but you know, I just got excited that somebody else was watching it and that you can like talk about it. And the episode that comes to mind, I mean, the whole show, but the whole episode of The Fishes, which is that Christmas episode.
Yes.
And there's like just a ton of chaos that ensues, but just like the writing, the conversations that are being had, like I don't think that you could get AI to write an episode like that and have it be The Bear. You know, it's a beautiful piece of art that is very scary to see something like that being taken away.
Right. That's the thing. It's just like AI does not have the human element, and it never will. Like straight up, it just absolutely will not. You can create like I don't know the best AI script ever, and it'll never touch like a human made script of like a TV show or something. It just can't happen.
I don't know. I just watched Borderlands, and that.
Oh, you did go see Borderlands?
That seemed AI generated. I don't know.
Maybe
they should have had an AI do that script.
Okay, there are a few exceptions to this AI rule, and that movie is one of them. I probably would have much rather seen an AI version of that movie. I don't know. I don't play Borderlands, but I knew from the casting alone that like, oh, cool, they're going in the wrong direction with this film. Lovely. Thanks for nothing.
I will say so. You know, my partner is a teacher, and there's a lot of issues going on right now with ChatGPT and school, and they have to essentially run everything through a detection system to see if it was just made by ChatGPT in order to determine it. Because I mean, kids are using it. There's no denying it. Kids are using it, and it's here to say I just don't know I don't know if there is a moral way of using it.
As a kid though, Johnny, like if I was that age, I probably would be using it too. Like I think the fact that, you know, we've gotten to the point where we just have like a calculator in our phone. Kids don't need to learn math,
you're saying we could use, you know, AI is always going to be there, so why not just use it?
No.
Well, here's the thing, right? Like if you get a Chat GPT to do your English essay, what's the nerd at school gonna do if nobody's paying him to write their essays? Another job stealer.
Yeah,
I gotta wonder because I see that trope all the time in films and TV. Does that ever happen in real life? Probably, maybe, but I want to know if
you pay a nerd.
Well, I mean,
Yes, to pay a nerd.
I was super smart in school, and that never happened to me. I never had to write somebody's paper.
It's also
But
just like
I was also cool, you know.
you're also cool, right? That's the thing, right? But it's just yeah. I'm sorry. I got my own essays to write. I don't care how good I am at writing essays. I don't care how much money I'd make. I got stuff I want to do. I want to play my games. You feel me?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's right. I just think, like, for example, at one point I was trying to get a real estate license, and then I was like, nah. But when they wanted you to take the test, they're like, you can't have your phone on you to take the test. And to me, that just felt a little hypocritical because I know plenty of realtors and property managers who have their phone on them all the time to look up answers or to see, like, oh, what's the cost of living in this area, like, or just to Google something.
I get that. I do. But at the same time, I would much rather have a real estate agent who at least passed those tests than I
For
would.
sure.
Yeah, and somebody who didn't, even though if they can look up everything on their phone.
Yeah.
I think it just goes to show how well you retain the information more than anything. It's just like, yeah, I'm sure all these mathematicians, like, they still use calculators and stuff, but it's just like they're still good at math otherwise,
Yeah.
So I'm a tax accountant, and we always discuss like ways of being more efficient, and with our our less complicated returns, like tax returns, we always discuss using AI to just prepare a return. Like you just put the information in, and then just generates the return. So I think AI is going to leak in. I think it's not going anywhere, and it's just going to get more prevalent.
I mean, I would like to use an AI for my own taxes.
Well, I think if you use like TurboTax, they probably do that. They probably
right,
but
you
just
still
put
got to
it in
enter
there.
everything manually still, and it's just like, oh my god, it just. Ugh. Oh man, I'm so worried about my next tax year now because I just remembered I'm unemployed. What's going to happen now? I got to fill out all this stuff. Thanks everyone for making me miserable on this podcast. I'm just kidding.
Well, if you need, I always thought that I would. There's not much information out there for like creators and taxes. I always considered like starting my own practice for just creators.
Nice.
But I'm terrified. That's too much liability, and I don't want to like piss anybody off.
I mean, at this point, I'm not trying to be a full-time creator. I just want to do it on the side. Right now, I'm full-time, but it's just like I'd rather like get a real full-time job, and then like just the thought of being self-employed scares the living crap out of me. Not like there's any feasible way I could do this for a living on my own channel, because then it's tough out there. I mean, I just got laid off from a big, huge YouTube channel. Do you really think I want to take that chance again on my own channel?
It's a fair point.
Yeah.
And I will say, it makes me a little nervous because I'm Nintendo centric, and there's like these videos that are coming out. RGT put a video out recently about how like Nintendo YouTube is dying essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
like
I saw that too. I saw that also from Nintendo Prime. It's crazy, and it's like, yeah, I think Game Explain had more problems than just like Nintendo being a Nintendo focused channel. But yeah, like even Beat 'em Ups Wood was talking about that too. Like the Nintendo landscape is not as exciting as it was even like 3 years ago, because the Switch is on its way out. Switch 2 is coming out hopefully soon. I'm thinking like even if Switch 2 got announced at this point, that wouldn't have saved my job. There's just a lot of like moving parts here that's just hard to understand. And even if like, because we also got to think of the context of when the Switch came out. The Wii U was a colossal failure, but it still had a relatively niche-ish following on YouTube, which was still like, so people would flock more to Nintendo YouTubers, especially during like the transition from the Wii U to the Switch. But now it's just like the transition from the Switch to Switch 2 might not be as exciting, especially if the Switch 2 is just a more powerful Switch. But I wonder when we're gonna see that system. I'm not over here like I got bigger things to worry about, so I'm not over here like praying to God every day it gets announced soon. But I'm still curious about it.
I was thinking about that earlier today, is that this is kind of just the first that we have seen people creating content for Nintendo. Sure, you did have people that were creating content for the Wii U, but then 2017 rolled around, and that was kind of when people were getting into Instagram. And then, TikTok came around in, I would say, like 2020, maybe 2019.
It blew
So
up around that time, yes.
yeah, exactly. And so I think this is just new for a lot of people, where they're like, well, what do we do with ourselves? And because we've never had this before. But like you were saying, like maybe this is the way that it will be even when we get something new, because maybe people are just burnt out.
Yeah, and TikTok has really changed the landscape. Notice how
Yeah.
Instagram focuses a lot more on Reels.
Yep.
Same with there's YouTube Shorts now, which we at Game Explain had to jump on to. People's attention spans just suck. They suck these days. I remember watching a TikTok from like some teenager probably saying like there's no good content on YouTube anymore, and I'm just like,
Ooh.
you're not even looking. It's
Yeah.
just like you got to look at youtube.com/FerrisWheelPro. There's your good content.
There it is.
I mean, I might be biased because a lot of my content is just short form, and I've gotten a lot more opportunities because of short form. And I don't understand long form.
Can be great. Yeah, short form can be great. I have a friend, a buddy, Sam Adams, Jam Pack Sam. He comes out with long form content like every week, but like every day it's like a new TikTok, a new YouTube short, and he's been getting like access to like previews for like games. Like he did a Star Wars Outlaws preview.
Oh, I did that
there's
too.
a market out there. I think I need to like figure out how I'm gonna jump on it too. But with the type of content that I make, it's only suited for long form. So that's definitely a new space. Like I think up and coming creators should really start considering, at least like not, if not fully, then part of the way.
I got sponsored by Borderlands because of TikTok. So
What? No way.
It was actually Mountain Dew, but it was a Borderlands event.
Even better, actually. That's the bigger name.
Yeah, so no, I still have hope that Nintendo, I think Nintendo this year is really slow. Like I think the content for Nintendo, like the games that they've been putting out are not exciting. People want something new. I think when that new Mario Kart comes out, the new Mario comes out, like I think it's gonna rejuvenate everything. Like who's talking about Peach right now? Who's talking about Mario versus Donkey Kong?
Who's talking about another code recollection?
Who's talking about
or Famicom
Nintendo World Championships? Like nobody, literally nobody.
Game Explain was talking about it as much as they could.
How'd it do? How'd it do?
Anymore. Ask my wallet. but anyway, I was gonna say, but they do got some. It's funny we say it's a slow year for Nintendo because it is, but like, if there was any slow year I would take from a year of Nintendo to be this one, because like, remember the last year of the Wii U? Remember the last year of the Wii? Nintendo lets.
I mean, it's pretty bad. I don't know. This year, like, I think it's still pretty bad this year. There's one exciting game, and that's Zelda. That's it.
Mario and Luigi Brothership. What?
I know.
But we've already had. So it's why it's not that exciting is because we had Super Mario RPG, Paper Mario: Thousand Year Door, and now we're getting another Mario RPG. It's just too many in the same.
But it's an
year.
original one. It's the return, the glorious return of Mario and Luigi in a brand new game.
I don't know. I just don't think it's exciting. This year's just not exciting for Nintendo, and I think it is.
He's always wanting a new Mario. He's wanting a new Zelda, but then when those are coming out, he's like, I don't want that.
I mean, Tears of the Kingdom is one of my favorite games ever. I'm excited for Zelda. Mario and Luigi doesn't count as a Mario game. It's an RPG. I'm talking platformer, 3D platformer specifically. 8 years? 8 years?
you will get your Mario Odyssey 2 next year. 8
Maybe.
years, like you said.
We got off topic. That's okay.
I don't even remember what we started
I
talking about.
like complaining about Nintendo. I'm salty now with Nintendo because they're annoying me. Just show me the Switch 2.
Honestly, yeah, the Nintendo's been annoying me too a little bit, but I'm also just like, whatever. I got all these other games that I want to play anyway. I've been talking about this on every podcast and every live stream I've been on recently. Play Dungeons of Hinterberg, available on Xbox Game Pass and PC. Beautiful game.
Oh, is that the one with? She have a skateboard? Am I thinking of the same thing?
Yes. It's that's one of the mechanics. She has a hoverboard in one of the levels. It's basically an action adventure game. I can't really compare it to like too much. Got some Zelda-like elements in there, I guess, because it's about like exploring 25 dungeons. But it's also a social, like kind of life sim too. So depending on the people you hang out with in town, they'll increase some of your stats. It's a really cool game. If you haven't checked it out yet, you should. And I've been telling everybody because I kid you not, like after like 3 or 4 Xbox achievements, every achievement I got from then on out was rare. Which makes me think, oh no, people aren't playing this game like they should. So like that's a game I could see coming to Switch, even Switch 1. So maybe they're planning on releasing it like on a Switch console. So
I do have Game Pass.
Yep. And so get on that.
I haven't used it, but the reason why we got off track is because I think we actually have an answer to this topic. First time ever, I think there's a correct answer. And generative AI sucks and is bad.
Again, I would love to learn if there are people that have a different opinion on this and how they think that this could be a good thing. But do
you want to know who has a positive opinion on this?
Who has a positive opinion?
People that are making money off of it.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
I need to find somebody who has a genuinely positive opinion on this without A, making money off of it, and B, being insufferable about it. Like that's what I want to know. Like if you have to defend this with while also bringing down real artists, then you don't have a good point. Like if you have to be like, oh, guess you got to find a new career. I just made this with AI. I'm just like, you are literally the worst person. Like right now.
I don't understand that either because there's people who will like complain about or praise AI for making music, and they're like, oh, finally we're gonna have some good music instead of the crappy music that's out today. And it's like, well, you're probably just listening to the wrong thing. There's tons of music out there.
Yeah, just stop listening to like the biggest hits, or like just try to look for good music instead of just, I don't know, listening to the radio or something.
I'm not listening to my EP that I just put out. You can you imagine?
What kind of music would that be, Johnny?
I don't even know. It'd be sick though. It'd be real good.
It would be just Hubert noises.
It'll be me throwing the Switch in the trash. That's the.
Hey!
Well, man. Joey, thank you so much for joining us and talking about this topic. I thought that you would enjoy it in a way. Maybe it's frustrating, but it needs to be talked about, and
anything to
people
get me pumped. It gets me pumped. In good bad ways.
And so we just want to say thank you so much for stopping by, and again, where can people follow you?
Thank you guys so much for having me. You can find me on every platform, Twitter and Instagram and YouTube at FerrisWheelPro. Give me a follow, give me a subscribe on there, because I got a video coming out here really, really soon if it's not up by now. I will be putting that out before I head to Gamescom next week, which is the week of August 19th.
That's fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm excited.
And Johnny, where can people find you?
I'm Johnny Bo everywhere. Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, the Nintendo Powercast. And what I'm doing right now is I've been going to thrift stores. All right. And I've been trying to find video games. It's very hard to find video games at thrift stores. It's only like Madden from like Madden 14, Madden 15. But I found an actual decent game, Army of Two, Devil's Cartel. I think
Oh, not
it's
bad.
Army of Two, 3, Devil's Cartel.
I
This
didn't know
goes
there
for-
was 3 of them.
I think so. I'm assuming that. Well, whatever. I paid $3 for it. I think you could sell it for like 20 on eBay. So pretty cool.
I need to look into this. I need to see how many Army of Two games there are.
I think there's 3. I think there's 3.
There's got to be. I only ever heard of 2 of them. So let's see. Yeah, there's.
Yeah, because you
there's
can kind
Army-
of see.
So yeah, there's Army of Two, Army of Two, the 40th Day, and the last one you're holding, Army of Two, the Devil's Cartel, came out in 2013.
Yeah, you can kind of see the 3.
That's so.
They
I
made the
love it.
2, the 3. That's confusing.
Oh man, it reminds me of when they did Black Ops 4, but it was 4 Roman like.
Yeah.
Like I guess it makes sense still. No, it doesn't, because like it would be an IV.
IV,
if it was
yeah.
actually accurate, but they were just like, nah, let's do 4 lines. Let's be different. And then they just decided for 5, it's just call it Cold War. And then for 6, they're like, I can't think of a subtitle. Just type 6, the number 6. Consistently inconsistent.
It sounds like the Fast and Furious movies, where I still don't think I could tell you the titles of every single one of them.
Okay, before I go, I will do that. The Fast and the Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious, Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, Fast and Furious, Fast 5, Fast and Furious 6, stupid, Furious 7, Fate of the Furious. What's the other one? F9, stupid. And the last one I think was Fast X Part 1.
I love how you're making fun of.
Wow.
I love how you're making fun of Fast and Furious for doing that, but Mario Kart does the same thing too. All right.
Oh my God, Super Mario Kart. What else is after that? Mario Kart 64, Mario Super Circuit.
Super Circuit, yeah.
What else is after
Mario
that?
Kart
Was there a game
DS.
more? Mario Kart DS, Mario Kart Wii, and then for some godforsaken reason, they just started doing numbers. Mario
Yeah.
Kart 7 instead of Mario Kart 3DS.
Oh, there's Double
Mario
Dash
Kart-
too.
Oh, there's Double Dash. Thank you. Mario
That's the
Kart,
Tokyo Drift one.
Yes. And then Mario Kart 8 twice. They're gonna skip straight to 10.
Yeah,
Calling
10.
it
10's
now.
coming out. It's gonna be Mario Kart X.
Yes, exactly. Or they should just call it MX.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
For
really,
MX
like they
for
did
the
F9.
NX. Yeah. Bring back NX.
Yes, I'm still waiting on that NX reveal.
Oh, speaking
That's
of Mario Kart
amazing.
Double Dash, I got into GameCube collecting again, and I'm
Oh
broke.
man,
It's
I-
way
yeah,
too much
that'll do
money.
that'll do it. That'll do it, man. I mean, you could probably get Mario Kart 1000 Year Door for cheap now. Mario Kart Paper Mario.
Not really. I mean, I don't know what you're.
Is it still expensive even after the Switch release?
I think I saw it for like 70 or
Okay.
80. I mean,
That's
it was
actually
it was in the hundreds.
significant.
It was in the hundreds.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
that.
That's a significant price.
But
drop,
still, that's
it's
a lot.
You could still buy the remake for way
The
cheaper.
I want the Pokemon games, but I only have one good kidney and I can't sell it. So
Now with that attitude, dude, just like, what is it called? What's the medical procedure called where you don't have a kidney? You have to like get a cleaning every other day or something.
dialysis, kidney dialysis.
You just do dialysis, bro.
Oh
you know?
man. Well, I have
What's the
half a
what?
kidney. So like when I was 10, I don't know if I ever told people this on here at least. When I was 10, I had a surgery and they took out half my kidney. So I have 1.5 kidneys.
Oh wow.
Don't hold in your pee, kids.
Oh yeah.
You'll get
don't do that.
infected.
Were you trying to hold your Wii for a Wii? Fun fact. That happened in my city. That contest.
No,
What?
it didn't. The water?
Yes, that was my radio station. I think that did that stupid contest. Made nationwide.
How much
news.
did she drink?
I don't know. All I know is she left behind a whole family. It just made me so sad.
Yeah.
My
Jeez.
God, that's just crazy. For one, the fact that I hope they got sued to oblivion. Like, that's just terrible.
Yeah.
Sacramento
Well, on that note-
proud.
You can find me on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Nintendo Powercast at CheezyC64, CheezyC64. Joey, I feel like you've said a lot of good things to like close us out, but we always ask our guests to close out the episode for us. What do you got on your mind?
I just want everybody to love one another. World peace. And I can't wait for Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. It's going to be a life-changing event.